Welcome to Conversation is King, where
Back.
we
I was just piggybacking. I'll start over. I was just we just hanging out.
like.
Are you ready?
Can you see my feet?
No.
Oh.
I made sure of that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Conversation is King. Welcome to Welcome to Conversation is King, where we talk love, faith, and relationships.
Mm-hmm. Let's get back into it. You're here with us on episode 2 now, because we ran out of time in episode 1. We thought we was gonna cover our entire lives in 45 minutes.
I told him we couldn't, but
I
he
thought
ain't
we
listened to me,
could.
and here we are.
But it's a good conversation, and I'm glad we were able to come back together and pick this up. What is seemingly a week later, we changed shirts because she told me that we couldn't sit here in the same color shirt for episode 2 because it's gonna look like it's the same day.
It's gonna look like we all
same.
showered. Like
I have on the same pants.
I do too.
Like,
I don't think they
she
paid
made me
attention.
change.
Like,
She made me change shirts, and because we're keeping it real here, I wanted to share that because I'm not. We here. We family now, and we can't be hiding nothing from people. So we changed shirts and came back for episode 2, and where we left off was a good spot, man. We were getting into a conversation that's not even on the cards. We were somehow gotten into church hurt and how that shaped who we were as people at that time in our lives when we met. So if we could pick back up there, just how do you believe the church hurt that you talked about in episode 1? Go like, share, and subscribe. How do you believe that your church hurt shaped who you were when I met you?
I would say that thinking about church and what it represents, it's supposed to be a safe place. It's supposed to be where you are safest. You can leave your purse open, you can, do because these are people of faith that are supposed to love, live, and lead like Christ. And what would Jesus do? And all these things like that. And to know that some of the most hurt my mother ever experienced happened in the church, it made me realize, like, wow, so what's going on outside the church? If that's going on inside the church, it must be the wild, wild west out here. And I think it just kind of made me I became kind of secluded. It made me distrust everyone. It made me kind of side-eye everything. Not God, because God is not the church. God is not the people in the church. That is something separate. But it just really made me look at people differently. And in looking at people differently, it made me look at relationships differently. Especially where, my mother was married to my father when all of this happened. And I'm like, wow, the vows didn't even make you move different. Okay, so your faith didn't make you move different, but your vows didn't make you make a different decision either. It's like, why would anybody want to do this? It just made me side-eye all of it. And so I was very broken when Matthew met me. I was broken probably in every way possible. It was impossible for him to put me back together. It was impossible for me to put myself back together. It started a big journey of a marathon of healing, I would probably say.
When you met me, I was probably the same way, but I was really good at masking it.
Very good. I'm gonna talk about that when he finishes.
I was really, really, really good at masking it. Like emotionally, spiritually, I was the episode of Martin where he got beat up and hit. That was me. Spiritually, emotionally, relationally, I know how to really talk to people. I know how to talk to myself. Surely didn't know how to talk to God. But out on the outside, I was, had a smile a mile wide across my face. I was very confident. I carried myself well, especially for a 19-year-old kid at the time in 2013. But my church hurt, my experiences kind of took me down the same path of I don't trust people. I don't believe that what's supposed to be safe is safe. I don't believe that what's supposed to be trustworthy is trustworthy. So it was. I just come out of probably two pretty. I won't say bad. One was bad. Another one was toxic relationships. You don't know. You weren't there, but I came out of one high school sweetheart type relationship, and that ended kind of badly. And I trusted her, so it was more so like even on the outside of the church, people are the same. So I kind of had like just a negative outlook on relationships as a whole, which is why it's funny that when I met you, I was so open to it. And then the girl I dated after that, we just didn't need to be together. That was just toxic. We just didn't. We just didn't.
Well, we could talk, right?
It depends on what you're trying to talk about. Remember, I said some of this ain't y'all business. So.
In that relationship, he's talking about the high school relationship. He was actually wrong, but
I don't think that I was.
I got you, girl.
I don't think that I was wrong.
I got you. He was.
Well,
we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, both of y'all can't say the word compartmentalize. Wow. So y'all can be wrong together. So, but I mean, wrong is relative. It's perspective. We'll talk about
it another episode. We gonna dive in.
Yeah, sure.
Into it.
And then I probably was wrong, man. I was 19, and one of the things that I've told you recently, I didn't have a blueprint for relationship. Yeah. So even in the moment when I may have thought I was right, because she took my TV when she left, when we broke up, and some of my clothes. But anyway, I probably was wrong in how I handled her. I didn't know how to handle me. Nobody had handled me correctly. I was not even just in a relationship with her. I was in a relationship professionally. I was in a relationship with people, with friends who were mishandling me. Yeah. So I'm coming home to her, who we probably shouldn't have been living together at 18, 19 years old, but coming home to her, handling her wrong. So it's interesting. And then the next relationship was kind of just a rebound, but she was toxic, I was toxic. It just wasn't a good time. So it's interesting that the moment I walked into that building in Ripley, Tennessee, the first thing that I heard in my head, which is one of the few times in life I know that was God. That's your wife. What?
Yes, 19 years old.
At 19 years old, that's your wife. And being 19 years old, walking into a room and looking at a complete stranger and saying that's your wife is an insane thought, especially not knowing you, especially not knowing at the time why you were in wrestling, especially not knowing at the time that back home you had 2 kids. So talk about that.
So we talk about me being a cougar. He was 19, y'all, and I was 20.
47. Oh, sorry. I'm on the wrong card. I apologize.
None of them cards say that.
We can edit that out.
You're gonna have to.
I was 19. She was 26. 27?
You call me 40.
I'm just fine. I'm just
on my neck.
But still fine. 47. 27.
Give me my decades back.
I was 19.
He was 19. And I was 26 years old. So what's funny about it, we're going to have so many random stories that we're going to throw out. It's because we're just going to remember just from the conversation. So we're talking on the phone, and I'm like, how old are you?
Wouldn't tell her.
This man would not tell me how old he was. So I'm like, wait, are you over 18? Because I'm about to hang up. He confirmed he was over 18. But he was 19. So that's another reason for the apprehension, because the apprehension didn't start there. So yes, I did give him my number, but the rejection continued.
Oh.
Matt, are we really going to act like I was gung-ho from day one, that I was on board? I was not.
I think the spirit moved you.
This man proposed. How many times did you?
Throughout our entire relationship, or before we actually got married?
Before we actually got married.
Before we actually got married, it's twice, technically.
And we're going to talk about that.
But it ain't had nothing to do with you rejecting nothing.
We're going to talk about the why. We're going to bother it. Yes, we are. Yes, we
gonna vibe
are,
with that
because
one.
we're gonna
'Cause you're
talk
lying.
about. I'm gonna let y'all into
You're lying.
Delenia's mind and what was going on with
Buckle up.
me during that
Yeah.
time. Because okay, I'm a next, but yes, cougar. He was 19. I was 26.
Mhm.
The crazy thing about it, go back to how I viewed Matt at that time. One of the reasons why I eventually came to give him a shot was because how he appeared to me. So I was a wreck. Only thing I had to offer him was love and 2 kids. That's it. That's all I had. I mean, I had a home, I had a job, I had a vehicle, but as far as um inside of me, what I could give to him, nothing. I was empty. I was broken. It was terrible. But one thing about him, one thing I admired about him was at 19, he had his own place. It was a nice place. I mean, it wasn't like
For a
the
19-year-old. Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't the
On his
Ritz
own.
Carlton, but it was very nice. I was very impressed by how he was living. He had his own vehicle. He had a management position at his job, and they were getting ready to promote him again and give him a store. Like, he had things working for him. He was doing well in his wrestling career. He was on TV consistently. He had gotten booked as an extra at WWE. They were interested in signing him. It was like he had a lot going on to only be 19, and I admired that. I really, really admired that, and I admired him. Which is why I allowed myself to even be open to the possibility of being in a relationship with him at that time, in the midst of my brokenness.
Mm-hmm. So, since you don't want to lie about the speed, let's talk about in that moment of brokenness. And I don't know if I've ever asked you this or we've talked about if we bothered this or not. But what? Because our relationship moved fast. So you got to think we met that was May, beginning of May,
That's correct.
2013. By no, because you didn't have a birthday yet.
It was the middle, or
It was the beginning.
it was the
It's like
beginning?
May 5th because you didn't have a birthday yet. You
You
didn't have a
want to
birthday.
put some money on it? Because I think it was more like the middle.
We can
of
put
May.
dinner on it.
Okay.
We put dinner on the fact it was before your birthday.
Oh, my birthday's at the end of the month.
I was trying to win.
You don't make a bet you can't lose.
Yes.
Bother it.
But so we met at the beginning of May. For context, our first date, where I think we met back in Ripley, Tennessee. She drove back from Atlanta. I drove back from St. Louis to that city. Was a month later, June.
It was in June.
Had to have been June, and then she came to St. Louis to visit me in July.
We gotta talk about that.
We were about to, because I want to really get into, our son that's going to Morehouse, who you saw in that video, who you saw us crying over the way that we were on the forehead veins. I met him when he was 5 years old. When she brought them to St. Louis, after we had been talking for like 2 months, and talk about what happened, what you heard, what you felt to make you say, okay, after 2 months, I'm going to drive my babies from Atlanta to St. Louis to meet this guy.
Okay. So we met in May. The Facebook conversation happened. The phone conversation happened. It started like we lived on the phone, talking all the time, texting all the time. Then it was like, okay, let's really see if this chemistry is real. Let's see if this is really a thing. So we had the idea of having a first date. St. Louis is 8 hours away, so we was like, let's meet in the middle. So that must have been like 4 hours.
It had to been like 4 for each of us, yeah.
Let me tell you what he did. It was so cute. I thought it was so adorable. So, but mind, we broke at this point in time, both of us.
Yeah, we had dinner at Wendy's that night. The first night,
both of us. Like, just had enough to do what we needed to do. So we was like, okay, something got to fund this date. So what he did was he reached out to promoters that he knew in the area and got us booked on these shows for that weekend. So basically, we were there, I want to say Friday, Saturday.
And we left Sunday
morning. So we had a show on Friday and a show on Saturday. And those shows basically funded this date that we had. And we got to remember that what happened at that match.
Yeah. I might have a video of that somewhere too.
We're going to have to. There's so much we've been through. So we're at the show. First time outside of at that initial meeting, we were out there. and we were doing a mixed tag match. What a mixed tag match
No, we
is
weren't.
one female, one.
We weren't.
We were.
we
It
weren't.
was me and the female wrestling. He was my manager. I guess
I was doing commentary that night.
That's.
I was
Are you
sitting at
serious?
the-
then how did you get? Okay,
No,
so I
had
gotta
a
tell you
match.
what happened.
I had a match that night. But I
No,
wrestled
but
first.
how did you get up
'Cause I
there
wrestled-
so fast?
'Cause I
Okay,
move like that. I'm like
so
that.
the female and I are having the match, and for whatever reason, she had a male at the ring
Manager,
side with
right,
him.
right.
Yes, this older man. I don't even know who this guy was.
Nobody does.
Something happened, and at some point, this dude kisses me, y'all. This man kisses me. We never discussed that. He never okayed this. Next thing I know, I see Matthew jumping over the top rope. Again, he's not a part of this match at all. He's not a part of this. He already had his match. That's why I thought that you were like the manager or
No.
something, because you
I
got
was-
there so fast.
I was sitting at, cause I'm like that, but I'm sitting at, I was sitting at the announce table, probably about 15, 20 feet away from the actual ring.
Yeah.
And when I knew that, I'm sorry if I'm ruining this for somebody, but professional wrestling is completely scripted. We know who's going to win, what's going to happen.
I think everybody knows that.
I mean, just for the folks out there who's like, what do you mean? Like, why did you react this way? Blah, 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 blah. Because it wasn't supposed to happen. That's why.
Mhm.
So when this happened, at some point I levitated up from
You
the
did.
table.
We have the footage. We're gonna.
I don't know
put
if
it
I have that
somewhere.
footage now. I don't know if I have that.
Oh
But
no.
I came across that table so fast, and I don't even remember I don't remember getting from the table to the ring. I just
So
remember being
you
there. And
ended up
came
on
in
the
between
apron and
us.
you jumped over the top rope.
I'm like that.
And like to me, yeah, it was weird. Like, why he do that? I don't know.
Yeah, who
I have
knows?
no idea
He
why this happened.
apologized profusely afterwards. Though. He's like, I just got caught up in the moment.
Were you
Yeah.
making out with people?
Yeah,
Well, it
it
wasn't
was-
a make out, but you put your lips on me, sir.
Yeah, it was weird.
It
weird.
was like somebody's grandfather.
Yeah, it was
like-
this old dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a moment he saw he tried to take advantage of, honestly.
We done been through some stuff. Like
that was-
unexplainable, like what?
That was the first one. So anyway, we got paid and left. Dinner that night was Wendy's. And when I'm talking about at that point in my life, Wendy's was exquisite 5-star cuisine. I let her get a Dave's Hot and Juicy Double,
I got number one, y'all.
I think.
Or number two.
Yeah, it was big money.
Yeah. You wouldn't need no 4 for 4,
They-
y'all.
they ain't- I don't think they
He
have
got
it for it yet.
money. Ooh.
But yeah, so we met then.
Fireworks.
Yeah, sparks,
it
man.
was it felt very natural. And so when I say fireworks, it wasn't like, ooh, I want to hump his leg. No. It was, that's my friend. Like, I feel so comfortable. And that was big for me then. That was super big because that's not something I felt often, especially with all that I've gone through. And I felt very safe. It felt very normal. It felt like we had been around each other for years.
Mhm.
I was like, wow, this is interesting.
It was like for me, that whole process now, if I look back and reflect on it, is like watching Love is Blind. And like the 2 months that we were like talking on the phone, messaging, whatever, like that was like us meeting in the pods. And then when we met in Tennessee, it was like the big reveal, and it actually worked out.
That's why you like that show.
I like that show. It's messy. I like it. You know, I like to watch other people's mess. I want my life to be messy, but I like seeing that tackiness. Especially when they open the doors and it's clear they don't like who they see. But we liked who we saw, and it was like you're right. It was sparks. We kind of have like that 90 Day Fiance or
Yeah.
Love is Blind story there where we like met and just clicked.
Yeah.
So then night 2.
So we had another show. That one was like in
That
a
one-
boiler room or something.
That one was in a gym. That one was
It was haunted.
that was uneventful, except for the fact.
Oh yes, I gotta tell the
Except- no,
story.
let me tell it. Except for the fact. So before the show, actually, I think we got it mixed up. I think this was night 1.
This was night 1.
Yeah, and then the jumping over the table was night 2.
Yeah.
So
no,
when
I'm
I
I'ma
say
tell
hold
the
on, let me tell it. When I say I'm like that, I don't mean on a basketball court. When I compared myself last episode to Kobe Bryant, I don't mean I'm good at basketball. I am not. My height has been wasted. I wrestled in high school. I played football, played baseball. Those were my sports. Basketball was not it. Somehow, my behind got on a basketball court. As she's sitting in the bleachers, I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna ball out right quick to impress her.
And I was like, ooh, you about to play. Y'all, when I say terrible, And then the crazy thing was they had it was like a 5-on-5. They was like, we need a person. You want to play?
So I'll hop in. I'll warm up.
Terrible. So I'm like roasting him. I'm like, dude, you are terrible at this.
She didn't roast me then. She roasted me I think she waited about 10 years to actually really get into
laughing, because I'm just like, wow.
So it got to a point where I was like, I'm just gonna box out, rebound, pass the ball, because that's
he was fouling everybody. It was just a mess. It was a mess, and he was trying so hard to impress me. He kept looking to make sure I was watching.
I was. I was
very cute.
Like rebound. You know what I'm saying? Pass. It was bad. Bro.
Terrible. And but seeing him try, I thought was the cutest thing. Yeah. It was very adorable. Yeah. Didn't we also go to the mall that day? No, that was the next day.
We went to the mall and we put our hands in each other's back pockets as we walked. Couldn't afford nothing but a pretzel, but we walked.
But he took me on a date. We went to this go-kart place. Where we were. I have a picture of that. I have that picture. I'm gonna post it. The picture from our first date. I have it, y'all. And I'm gonna post it. There's two for sure that I know. I'm gonna post those.
Yeah, it was like this little arcade. We did that, and then
we had pizza.
I don't remember. Did we have pizza?
We had pizza.
I don't remember what happened that night. But then it was time to go, and I got in the car and I left.
No, we ain't gonna speed past that. So this is Sunday. It's time to go. So
it was raining.
What happened when we first got there? We met somewhere, and then I got into his vehicle and we drove around everywhere we need to go, the shows and everything like that. So he had to bring me back to my vehicle. So when we got back to my vehicle, we just sat in his vehicle for a little bit and just talked and recapped and get home safely and all that stuff like that. Then we said goodbye, we hugged.
And on a rainy day, it was raining.
I get out of the vehicle and I get in mine. Before I leave, I look over. When I say boo-hooing, when I say this man was crying like I shot his dog, you would have thought I killed his best friend. When I say boo-hooing, crying, like snot, all of it. And I'm like, is he crying? So I go back over to check on him. And I'm like, what's wrong? He says, I don't want to leave. And I don't want you to leave. And this man is crying. And I'm just like, yo, he loves me. I don't even know how to receive that. But this man loves me. So that freaked me out a little bit because I'm just like, what am I supposed to do with that? But then, so I comfort him. I'm like, we're going to see each other again. We could talk the whole way home. But I got to go home. He then says, I have enough money in my account to stay one more night. I'm like, bro, I'm not going to have you overdrafting your account. But no, we going to be all right. But I knew for a fact that night that he loved me. Now, when he actually fell, I'm not sure. But that night, I knew without him telling me that he loved me.
So I guess that's what played into your decision about bringing the boys to St. Louis to meet me. So how did we get there? Because that was
a month later.
Yeah.
So we continue. So I go back. He goes back home. We continue talking on the phone. And it's every day. It's the same. And it is progressing. The feelings are there. The curiosity is there. Then it got to a point. So at this point, I have a 4 and I have a 5-year-old. And I'm like, I can't be serious with anybody without knowing, if they like him. That's an important part. There could be no us if there's not a y'all. Because my kids are everything to me. And so then he was like, well, I'll come to Atlanta. I've never been. And I said, no, I don't want you to meet them on their turf, just in case it doesn't work out. I don't want where they live, where they reside, where they hang out, all of that to be sullied with a bad memory. So I said, we'll come to you. Then I also wanted to see how he lived, because that's how you truly get to know somebody, seeing them in their element and things like that. So that's how we ended up coming to St. Louis instead of you coming to Atlanta. That was my thought process. I'm like, I'm not gonna, have you in my kids space. Not even necessarily about their home, but in their city. I don't want them to be like, we came here with him and we hate him. Like I don't know. They have bad memories somewhere they live. I didn't want that.
So the trip was made. It was planned.
For a weekend.
I remember it for a weekend, and I remember the day that they came up. Apparently, they was doing, I guess, I don't know, heavy construction. So what was an 8-hour trip turned into like a 10-hour trip? And I had an attitude.
So
I didn't think
we
she
have
was
to
coming. I thought she was playing with me.
Yes, we have to talk about this, especially now, hindsight. So I'm on the way, and there's all this construction. So like a 4-lane road is now a 2-lane road, or sometimes even a 1-lane road. So I'm taking forever. I'm on the phone with him, right? And I'm like, hey, I'm on the way. I promise you I'm on the way. There's all this construction. I'm even naming out street signs that I see. I'm on this highway. I'm seeing these streets, and he doesn't believe me. Looking back, that was a big telltale sign of how broken he was. That I'm telling you, I'm on the way. I'm naming street signs that I wouldn't know unless I was where I said I was, and he still didn't believe me. Yo, that should have been a red flag. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because that shows just how damaged and mistrusting of people that he was.
Mm-hmm. So finally, she pulls up.
And he had on glasses. I'm like, you don't wear glasses? I don't even know where he got these glasses from.
I needed glasses. I needed them, but those were not prescription glasses.
We're not.
So they pull up, and then at that point, I'm like, ooh, I don't know what to do now.
So he came outside to welcome us and help us bring in our things. And that's when he met Noah and Andrew
for the first time. Yeah. I don't remember like the first interaction because mentally for me, I jumped to.
I don't think there was one because we were exhausted.
Yeah, I remember they came in. I remember we put on Monsters Inc.
Yes.
But as far as like our first conversation, like high fives, what's up, buddy? I don't remember that ever being a thing. But I remember our first interaction was, I believe, it was the next day we went to the zoo, and that's when we started.
From that too.
We started to click. That's when we had the picture of I put Andrew on my shoulders and he was crying. And what's funny is, man, looking back, thinking about that picture, he looks just like Madison in that picture. That cry face, same cry face. And then we went.
Remember the lasagna?
We saw the animals and stuff like that, and that was 18 hours after we met, something like that.
Yeah.
And we didn't do anything that I thought was, I guess, extravagant. We went to the zoo. For context, the zoo in St. Louis is free to this day. It's free. And it's
very
still,
nice zoo.
And it's still a better zoo than the zoo in Atlanta.
Don't do that.
I'm gonna say that Atlanta Zoo is like $33 to get in.
And that might be a sponsor for this podcast. And here
no, we keep it real. They got like 2 chickens and a roach in Atlanta Zoo. But in St. Louis, they got they got birds and butterflies and
that
lizards.
Butterfly section was a little scary. They land on you.
Yeah. But anyway, we did that and then we left. And I was like, hey, let's go. This is my favorite spot. It's not even ice cream. It's frozen custard in St. Louis called Ted Drew's. And I was like, we're gonna go to Ted Drew's. I need y'all to experience this with me. That's the spot. And it was, I don't remember what we said or what the conversation was or how we got there, but they called me Dad in the backseat of the car, and I was just like, and I responded, and it was such a natural thing, and I remember she was like,
yeah,
but I
cats, y'all,
but
cats.
I responded, and it was just natural, and then from there, from Andrew being 4, Noah, the Morehouse man being 5. It just went from there. We got to pause there, though, because Andrew said he's ready for it.
And I think Noah has work, too.
I don't remember if we ever actually got the Ted Drews.
I don't think so.
I don't think we ever got it, but I don't even remember where we went from there, because that day is just kind of now.
I think that's the lasagna day.
The day you made the lasagna. So let me talk to you about this lasagna and this Kool-Aid this lady tried to kill me with. I ain't never seen so much sugar put in Kool-Aid that already has sugar in it, because it was one of the little jugs that was pre-sweetened.
It's
not.
Like the package. It's never pre-sweetened.
And I'm like, it was so thick that one, you couldn't see through it, and it was like a thick paste that she had put in the picture, and I was upset.
It was
because-
like a house party. You know that house party scene?
Yeah,
where
man,
he's
I'm
pouring
like-
the Kool-Aid. That was me.
why would you do that? It's not even good no more. It hurts going down. Like, it's painful.
I was trying to impress you.
Oh, okay. Well,
And then the lasagna.
Yeah,
So let's talk about that. So he wanted to test my cooking skills. All right. I was like, I'm gonna make everybody lasagna. So when I bought all the ingredients, the pan that he had was smaller than the pans I usually cook in. So I know you need 10 sheets of lasagna, 5 for the first row, 5 for the second row, and all like that. This one probably needed 4.
Okay.
So I over prepared for this lasagna. So once it went in the oven and it started to cook and the cheese started to melt and everything, it started to spill over the sides. And when it spilled over the sides, it started to hit the bottom of the oven, etc. And it caused steam. So it's smoking out the apartment.
and I wasn't a fireman yet, so
He wasn't a prepared hero either.
yeah.
Shut up.
I don't recall, like, I don't want to say I don't recall too much, but I don't necessarily. I remember just the highlights of that weekend. I do remember that weekend then turned into 2 weeks.
Okay.
It turned into 2 weeks.
So we were supposed to come for the weekend, go up Friday, come back Sunday. I don't know what happened, but next thing you know, it was 2 weeks later. We were still there. So in his apartment building, there was a washer and dryer in the basement, and we kept going down there and washing things, going to Walmart, things like that, and getting little shirts, underwears, extra things, and washing. And finally, it came to point. So, like I told you, Andrew was 4, Noah was 5. So Noah was going to kindergarten, Andrew was going to pre-K. So the elementary school that Noah was going to be going to had a pre-K program. And so I had to do a lottery application to see if Andrew would get in. For whatever reason, they didn't let you know electronically if you got in or not. What they did is they posted a sign on the door of the school, and you have to go to see if your child's name was on it. If your child's name was on it, that means they got in. So I had to go back to do this. Not to mention, like I told you, this is July. School was getting ready to start. I'm like, I have to go buy them school supplies. I have to do all the things. I have to go back. This man gonna say to me, well, I'm going with you. He says, so he had to work that day, the day we're having this conversation. And he says, I'm going to work today and I'm putting in my 2-week notice.
I typed up. I had it. I stood at the door of my bedroom and I said,
what else did you say to me?
I told you I was like Velcro. I said, if you mess with me, you stuck with me. But I used another word that rhymed with stuck.
Right, exactly.
Like, you stuck with me. And yeah, and I held it in my hand like this. I said, I got my 2 weeks old. It's right here. Like, I'm serious. And she was like, all right.
and then he started. So at this time, I had a Ford Explorer.
No. That was the Toyota, the Highlander.
It was the Toyota.
Yeah, the Highlander.
So I had an SUV. I don't know why I had an SUV. I only had 2 kids, but I had an SUV.
Because you refuse to get a minivan. I'm still trying to put her in one. I think
Yeah,
it's
so
hilarious.
if everybody just can't go. I can't. I won't. I refuse. So I had a SUV. So before he left for work, he started packing up things and loading up my vehicle. Now, so it's me and the 2, Noah and Andrew, in the back seat. The front seat was filled. The third seat was filled. I don't think this one had 3 rows. No, this one didn't have 3 rows. So, but it had a large trunk. So the third seat next to Noah and Andrew was filled. The front seat was filled. The trunk was filled. I couldn't see out the back window. That's how much stuff he put in there. And we left. And we brought his things to our home. We loaded it, out the vehicle, and was just like, I don't know what we're doing, but here we are.
I don't remember the time frame between that day and when I was supposed to actually come and move down there. But I remember, like, let's say if I was supposed to drive down there like on a Saturday, it was actually a Saturday.
I was supposed to come because show. Yes.
We were booked on a show that evening.
Yes.
I was supposed to come in. I was supposed to get up that Saturday morning and drive from St. Louis to Atlanta.
8 hours.
Yeah, about an 8-hour trip. Like I was in management at that point, and we closed the store that night, the Friday night before, like 11 p.m. And I was like, why not? I'm just going. I've driven before. I've done plenty of road trips as a pro wrestler. Going from city to city, state to state. I'm just going. We're gonna go now. I didn't want to wait. I can't even remember if I packed a bag. I would assume I had to,
Yeah.
but I left work.
You had to have brought some things with
I
you.
locked the store up, and I got on the road. I remember getting about halfway there, like just outside of Nashville, and pulled over and slept for a little bit, and then I remember the next morning she called me, and she was like, "Hey, just calling to make sure you're on the road." Like, yeah, I'm crossing the Tennessee Georgia state line now, and she was like, "What?" I was almost there. I was coming, and the first day that I'd ever stepped foot in the state of Georgia was the day I moved here, and I ain't looked back since. I think I continued to work there. Like I worked there like on the weekends, like I think 1 or 2 weekends or something. I drove back up there because I had stuff there anyway,
Yeah.
business to settle. So I would go up there, pack some stuff, close some things out, and then like do a shift, and then I did like 2 or 3 more times, and then that was it, man. I came down here permanently.
Mhm. And I remember when he got this because I had a house at this time, and I would like to boys in the neighborhood would be like, "Hey, I'll cut your grass," and give them a couple dollars or whatever like that. But they hadn't been coming around for whatever reason. I hadn't seen them in a while, so
Yeah,
the grass was a little high.
it wasn't a little high. That grass was high.
So the first day mind you, he worked, I want to say a 12-hour shift.
Something like that. It was 11 or 12.
And then he got off, drove overnight, didn't tell me. I'm sleeping, soundly sleeping, thinking he's sleeping too. And he's driving. He gets here, pulls the lawnmower out, and cuts the grass. And I was like, what?
Good time.
Good.
So that transition for us between, because for some reason, well, everybody, like when they see us, like we've just become such a dynamic now. Like we're a family, right? There's no question about it. Noah, Andrew are my sons just as much as Madison and KJ are my children. But it's like nobody really knows that biologically, I'm not their sperm donor. But it's like the way that we just blended together so seamlessly was just like I was. It was like, one just caught the wind and flew down to Georgia. And
Well, the problem with
like,
that,
it was just
the problem with that is I gave birth to Noah when I was 21.
2009.
In 2009, and I gave birth to Andrew when I was 23.
No, Andrew was born in 2009. Noah was born in 2007. Yeah.
So I was 21 in 2007, giving birth to Noah, and 23 in 2009, giving birth to Andrew. Remind you, he is 7 years younger than me. That means he would have been 14 and 6. No.
Yeah, 2007, I was starting high school.
No sperm in the wind. No. What?
I was starting high school in 2000. I remember, look, let me tell you something, right? When I tell you I had no game, I had no sense of style, I had no nothing. I had gotten somehow. My first day of high school, I remember the fit that I had. You lay your fit out before, the night before. I had it laid out. You remember Daddy Yankee, the rapper? I had some Daddy Yankee shoes. Couldn't tell me nothing about these Yankees. Shoes? He had a shoe.
I need to see the picture of these shoes.
Man, and I had a white tee, a tall white tee. And because I was on the end of it, it's 2007, tall white tees, I was like 04, 05. Right? I'm on the tail end of this, but I was like, I finally could afford a tall tee. So I got a tall white tee, and I had a puffy white jacket vest. And I remember I had like some white sweats, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna kill him. It's a new beginning. I was the fat kid in middle school. I was still chunky. My freshman year of high school, I was still a little rotund. My nickname in school was Lil Chunky, but it wasn't one I accepted. But I was like, man, I'm gonna kill him this year. You know what I'm saying? I was a new chapter. I'm gonna start over.
Here we go.
And them children roasted me out of my socks. And what's crazy was I couldn't come back the next day in another pair of shoes. That's what I had. So it was like I had to come back and like be like, nah, y'all just ain't seen these yet. These exclusive. Y'all just ain't got here. It's like it's not in East Bay yet. You remember the East Bay magazine where you circle your shoes and your mom would never buy them? Like it's not in there yet. I got them things from Shoe Carnival in on the south side of St. Louis somewhere. and man, it was just. But anyway, yeah, 2007, I was in high school.
So 2007, you were starting high school?
I was starting high school in 2007.
I graduated high school in 2004.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I'm doing good. So I don't remember how we blended into. I don't remember on Saturday, July 13th, 2013, we became a family. It was like we just always were, and there was never really question about it. Like we just a family, man. And it's what's funny is how seamless that happened in a time period that we were so broken. I was so broken. Yeah. I had kind of I'm not gonna say a strain, but actually at that point in time I had a great relationship with my father. It was just that we were building it.
Yeah.
It was new. And man, that between 18 and 28, me and my dad were butt cheeks, tight, close, But before that, we weren't, because of how my mom had pulled me around and kept me away and stuff like that. I had to claw back to have a relationship with my dad. I say that to say no knock on my father whatsoever, because I think, again, capacity wise, he was the best father he could be. Yeah. But I didn't have a blueprint in fatherhood either. I had people in my life. I had an older brother, named Adam, who, was my, I guess, father figure, yeah. Who taught me things, who showed me things, who raised me, the best way he could before he passed. But I didn't have a blueprint. This is what fatherhood looks like. I didn't know how to hug a young man. I didn't know how to forehead kiss him and tell him, hey, I love you, or I'm proud of you, or anything, So it was like I had a very tough transition period of not only being what I needed for me, because at this time I was still trying to figure out who I was for me. At 19, 20, 21. Legally, I couldn't even drink yet. But then trying to figure out. I
was there for his first drink. We'll talk about that.
She was there for my first legal drink. But trying to figure out what I needed to be for them as well. Because I can tell you a Four Loko story from when I was in high school that will rock your socks off, just like it did mine. But yeah, so it's interesting how God uses you in seasons where you feel unusable. Like if you would have asked me then how, how I was built, how I was thinking, how I was moving, what I was, trying to accomplish in life at that point. If God was using me, no, I mean, why would he use me? Where I am in life. But it's so interesting how God places you in places that in one season that is meant to grow you, nurture you, press you, mold you, so that when you bloom in the next season or in a season 10 years down the line, you can actually be prepared for it, because getting ready to ship Noah off to college, I remember the day I met him, getting ready to ship Noah off to college. If I was the man then, today, trying to ship it, I couldn't, because I had a terrible college experience, So it's just interesting how sometimes we get into these stormy seasons and we just ready to just call it quits, just give up, let ourselves drown. And if there's anybody out there who's currently standing in the rain, I implore you to hold that umbrella up just a little bit longer.
It gets better.
It gets better. And I know that sounds corny. I know that sounds cliche. It gets better. And now is the time when you feel like it's the hardest. That's when God's the closest. And all you just tap in. Just allow him to speak to you. Allow him to use you, because I guarantee you this season is watering you for your blossom. So
true. The crushing and the pressing.
What was that, Jekyll and Carr? I used to have that song on repeat.
No, New Wine.
No.
I'm telling Todd.
No. That's it. Todd and Chandler did do New Wine, but back like, I don't know, 10 years. Do you know Jekyll and Carr?
Is it that girl? She's like 10, but she looks 40.
She was like 10 and she was young. She was like 15 when that song came out. That's right. She got the voice of a church mother.
She does.
But that song is where I gotta play it for you. You don't know what you're talking about. But